Since the termination of CAT Assistant Director John Andoh on August 18th, the CAT Board has had a flurry of meetings to address issues raised as a result of his departure. We'll bring you up to date, although the story clearly isn't over yet. To catch you up, here's the backstory so far. The prior CAT Board hired John Andoh in January 2021 after a brief recruiting process. They managed to miss a few concerning signs in his background. And despite a clause limiting him to working only for CAT without prior board approval, they missed his acceptance of a job in North Carolina simultaneously with beginning the CAT role. By the time they terminated his contract, less than 4 months after he began working in Hood River, he was holding 5 jobs, including his present role in Hilo, Hawaii. During the meeting in which Andoh's contract was terminated, CAT board member Greg Pack suggested that the board needed to review what had happened.
Madam Vice Chair, I think it is important that some of those comments that Tracy brought up there be addressed at some point, whether our hiring processes failed us at some point, whether our background check or our background information didn't go far enough to be able to find it. It seemed like there was a lot of discoverable information about our hire, that maybe we do have some gaps there.
Unfortunately, the review of the hiring process included the sentence that, quote, references were checked and an internet search was conducted. It hardly needs noting that whoever did the checks and searches missed a lot, and no one bothered to see that after Andoh was hired, that he continued to hold multiple jobs, violating his contract from day one. Additional public comment on August 18th had suggested areas where the board was failing to comply with its own bylaws and state meeting rules, how it formed committees, the purpose of those committees, public notice and agendas for committee meetings, and more. Board member Greg Pack also thought that a better understanding of the bylaws was needed.
And changes we need to do, and if we haven't followed bylaws, as has been pointed out, maybe we need to go through some training and see where we have some gaps to make sure that we are, so we're accountable for our action.
In the September 15th meeting last week, 5 committees were now publicly named with committee members listed. In each case, the board agreed that, quote, an agenda and minutes will be made public along with public meeting notifications, end quote. It's nice to see that CAT will begin to pay attention to its bylaws. And speaking of bylaws, the September 15th meeting also included significant amendments to those bylaws. The board expanded its description of how it would conduct outreach for board seat vacancies, and new amendments also clarify how committees are formed and committee membership. We'll take this as another explicit admission of prior failures. On the executive director front, another special meeting is set for September 22nd, where the CAT board will continue what the job description is for Andoh's replacement. The board will also consider whether to hire a recruiting firm to manage the search and initial candidate selection. Given that fees for that can range up to 17% of the final candidate's base salary, $15,640 for someone who's going to be paid $92,000, it's another clear admission that the board and hiring committee, which remains unnamed from the Andoh fiasco, might not be qualified to find strong candidates. The CAT board will also need to debate the offering salary for the role, since the initial figures mentioned in the packet give a salary almost 5% below the one now being paid to the current planning and grants manager. And as a final bit of financial news for CAT, because of Andoh's departure, CAT is 2 months behind in its Transit Master Plan schedule. The board voted to hire a consultant to complete the public engagement plan. We'll let you know that cost once we learn it. And finally, Mr. Andoh has returned the CAT property he had to CAT, according to the board, in response to a direct question.